Hey, everybody, and happy Friday. Hope you're having a great start to your holiday weekend. Welcome. We're going to be talking some sports here. Tons of things going on this weekend. It's a big holiday weekend, and so if you're a race fan, there's all kinds of great stuff going on. We've got Sunday is the Grand Prix of Monaco. We've got the Indianapolis 500, and we've got the Coca-Cola 600. So no matter what type of automobile racing fan, we got a little bit of everything for you. Things kick off at 9 a.m. on Sunday morning with on ESPN with the Grand Prix of Monaco. Hey, Katie, how are you? Good to see you. From H-Town, from Houston, good to have you in the house. Katie is in the house from Houston. And we were just talking about Sunday. There's a ton of auto racing starting at ESPN at 9 a.m. because that's where they have the Grand Prix of Monaco. That's followed by noon on NBC, where you're going to have the Indianapolis 500. And then later at 6 p.m. Is the Coca-Cola 600 from Charlotte. So there's F1 at 9 a.m., IndyCar at noon, and then 6 o'clock we got NASCAR. So all kinds of stuff. So what's going on in H-Town, Katie? How's your Astros doing? Things are going pretty good for Texas teams in baseball and in football as well. So good to have you in the house. We've got all kinds of fun stuff going on. We got the NBA tonight. Tomorrow night. That's going to be an interesting one because suddenly Boston has found a way to beat Miami. Not bad. Good to hear. Good to hear. What's your favorite TV show, Katie? Do you have a favorite TV show on whether it's sports or just entertainment? Because we like to talk that too. Again, we got baseball this weekend. We got basketball tomorrow night with the Heat and the Boston Celtics. Then there's hockey, and there's a little bit of everything for everybody. There's even some football on the weekends, so all kinds of fun stuff. And good opportunity to Peacock has the Rays and the Dodgers on Sunday morning. So all kinds of good stuff going on here for the 4-day holiday weekend. You need a good documentary to learn about. What the end of that? There's one on the History Channel is about to debut. One on FDR, on Franklin Delano Roosevelt, and the importance of Franklin Delano Roosevelt in history. So that's one you might want to look at. There's a bunch of good ones on PBS if you have that access to the PBS app, or it depends on what you like, what you're into. There's plenty of very, very good documentaries all over the place. The list is pretty good. For racing, okay. Documentaries for racing. I would say, oh goodness, what's it's not a Formula One. There's a Netflix series on Formula One, which is really kind of cool. Also, if you like, there's a very cool. They're gonna have a race in Las Vegas this year, and there's a really cool YouTube video about what it looks like, the race, because it's gonna be race held at night, which is kind of cool. So let's you can check that out. YouTube has I'll get it. I'm gonna pull it up here for you. Las Vegas is having a F1 race, and this is going to be really cool for F1. And really, they're going down the strip. It's really going to be fun. And I'm going to send you a link to look at. and with regards to F1. And already, as I said, you can they have a really cool series on the folks at Netflix have it, and you want to definitely check that out. So, yeah, hang on one second. I've got the link here. I'll put it in our box so that everybody can take a look at it. It's this is what the lap around the. Here you go, and here you go. There you go. You're saying, oh yeah, Succession. Succession is very good. Disney, Star Wars, The Citadel is not too bad. Very good. You're right. Succession is really one of those ones you get hooked on. It's kind of like Billions. Billions was one of those ones where you didn't know which guy to root for because you didn't like them all, but they were really good. I liked it when Axe was on there. He I thought was really good. Axe and his team were fun to watch every week and find out who the good guys and the bad guys were. That was always fun. Yeah, it's there's the YouTube clip. You can link on it, and you can take a look at the lap on YouTube, which might be fun from that standpoint. The Disney, the Star Wars stuff. I don't know if you were into the Mandalorian. That was kind of cool, and a lot of people fell in love with Baby Yoda, and that was a fun situation as well. So Disney has some cool stuff on their on Star Wars TV, and Succession is definitely get you hooked on that one. And I don't know if you were into Game of Thrones, but the other one that they have with House of Dragons is also pretty cool with that one. So there's enough going on there. Secession is one of those ones where you just look at it and go, there's not anybody who I really think is a good guy here, but it's still very entertaining, very, very entertaining. It's kind of like Breaking Bad. Did you? I don't know if you're a Breaking Bad fan or a Better Call Saul fan. Definitely very entertaining stuff. Let's take a quick look around and let you know what's going on this weekend on live sports as we see it. Tonight, there's the NASCAR Truck Series on FS1. Also, this is the Ion makes its debut with WNBA. The Washington Mystics is the Chicago Sky. That's the early game at 8 p.m. The 10 p.m. game is the Dallas Wings at the Seattle Storm. Baseball, college baseball, I should say. Pac-12 tournament on the Pac-12 network is Oregon, Washington. And they also have Major League Baseball tonight on the MLB network is the Dodgers and the Rays. So that should be good. And regional coverage on the MLB network, as I said, is the Rangers and Orioles. And then the game tonight on Apple TV, as we've been told here, is going to be let's check out Apple TV and the game there is Apple TV MLB is Friday Night Baseball on Apple TV. And by the way, they're running a special on Apple TV. For $20, you can get it for the entire season, which is a pretty good for the entire year. So that's pretty cool too. So let's see what we have here tonight. And let's see what we got. We have we have the Padres and the Yankees. That's the game at 7 o'clock, and the backup game for those of you in the San Diego and New York area is going to be the White Sox and the Tigers. Okay, so that's your baseball on TV tonight. And there's tons of college baseball. The ACC tournament is on the ACC network. The SEC tournament is on the SEC network. The Big Ten tournament is on the Big Ten network. And as we said, Pac-12 is on the Pac-12. We also have golf, which is the LPGA Tour, and that's on 7 o'clock on the Golf Channel. Hockey is the Memorial Cup. That's on the NHL Channel tonight. Quebec and Kamloops Blazers. Soccer tonight, Ecuador, and that's what we got. Tomorrow night, of course, we'll have all the MLS games on Apple TV Plus. And as we said before, a ton of stuff to watch. So it's not like we don't have things that we can watch. The Oregon president, I think, it seems like the Pac-12 is cracking those comments coming out. We'll find out. I don't think we'll have to wait too long to find out what's going to happen with the Big 12. I'm sorry, the Pac-12. They should have the numbers and the decision to decide whether or not they're going to stick together. I'm guessing before, I would say maybe the second or third week in June, because at the end of the month of June, that's when San Diego State, who they have talked to about joining the conference, will have to make a payment of $17 million to get out of the Mountain West. On the 1st of July, that would be $34 million. So if they're going to add the folks from the Mountain West, it's San Diego State, it's going to have to be before July 1st, or they would have to pay quite a fee. That's true. I do feel sorry for them, because if things do come apart at the Pac-12, which we'll see, but if they do, it could be that San Diego State doesn't have a home in either the Pac-12 or the Big 12. So they could be on the outside sitting in on that, as could SMU. So there's a couple of P5 schools out there that I hope that they don't get it. I wish that would pick them up. It seems like they held back. Well, I think in that case, in fairness, I think the athletic director at San Diego State felt so strongly that they were going to be in the Pac-12, and they may still be. We'll find out. That the Big 12 took a pass on it, and of course now your Houston Cougars are in the Big 12, which will be interesting, and it'll be a nice situation. They're back playing teams from Texas and Oklahoma and all kinds of stuff. So you'd rather have them over Houston or Cincinnati. Okay. So you would rather have San Diego State in the conference rather than Houston or Cincinnati? Is that what you're saying? That's interesting. Yeah, I mean, if you're talking about in the Big 12, I guess they would, because they have their football team's getting better, but they do have a heck of a basketball team. But then again, so do you guys at Houston. Cincinnati, not so much. They used to have a decent basketball team in Cincinnati, but not too much anymore. That was back when Bob Huggins was coaching, and Huggins is kind of worrying out his welcome. He's having trouble in West Virginia right now. So seems like you know what? It's a good. San Diego State is a good investment, as the old saying goes, right? They're a conference team on the rise, and with some additional money that would come to them from either the Pac-12 or the Big 12, they could indeed be. They got a beautiful new stadium out there, and they also have outstanding basketball. So you've got that. Baseball's been fantastic for them. Would be the best. You know what? I would agree with that. I would agree. Nobody's gonna hate going to San Diego. That's for sure. It's a great city, and it would be definitely a showcase place for the Big 12. I wouldn't disagree with you on that at all. If they went to the Big 12, that would be a lot of fun for them. I think that they would. I think that would be a trip that pretty much everybody in the conference would like to make. Having some trouble in the commissary here as the doors crash, but no, just kidding. They would be a good fit for the Big 12, and the Pac-12. So we'll see. They're one of those teams that you want to see land someplace in a Power 5 conference because they have taken the time, the effort, and spent the money to definitely get there. And as I said, I know we look a lot at their football and their basketball programs, but I mean they've had a tremendous baseball program and softball program over the years, and a lot of things in the Olympic sports have been really good for them. So yeah, San Diego State would be a definite good add to any conference, and we'll see between now and July 1st where they land. But I do believe somebody's going to pick them up. I would like to see, if the Pac's going to do it, they should do it soon. And if the Pac stays together, then 100% the Big 12 should pick them up. So we'll see how that works out. But we'll have to see because in the next few weeks, things are going to probably crystallize, I do think, at this juncture. So, yeah, for sure. We'll see how things in San Diego, work out. But it's a good city, and you're right, it would be a fun place to go at any time for the Pac-12 or the Big 12. So 100% on that one. So let's see, what's moving on? The Big Ten, as we said yesterday, the Big Ten, it's really kind of more of an embarrassment and a mess from that standpoint. State holds them back, lack of size. Size. They're a commuter school, much like the University of Houston was when Houston was in their early stages, and a lot of schools in the AAC, for instance, like South Florida and you got Central Florida coming to the Big 12. They're very much commuter schools. So San Diego State is a commuter school. Their size is limited, but they're growing, and it's a good a good alumni base too. So that's pretty cool. We're talking about the Big Ten. The Big Ten, and their deal is, it's more of an embarrassment than it is going to cost them. It'll cost them some money, but they're going to be at about $65 to $70 million per school, which is not too tough to take. That's puts them a little ahead of the SEC, not a lot, but just a little bit ahead of them. And so, it's a good situation from them. We will see what goes on. The Pac-12, as I've said always, is, if the teams are literally and the members literally want to stay together, they will. The only people that can blow them up is not the Big 12 or the Big 10. It's the Pac-12. So we'll see how that works out in that situation. But as I said, the Big 10 right now, I don't think that they're going to rush to add Oregon and Washington because at this point in time, they want to get this TV deal situated and worked out. And they also want to see what goes on in the ACC. So I don't think it's a lock that Oregon and Washington is headed to the Big Ten. I think that that's more of a I want to be there, but you have to be invited to get there. That's not the situation for the Four Corner schools. They've all know that the Big 12 would be happy to have them. So we'll see how that plays out in in the long term. But again, we're gonna pretty much find that out in the next, I would guess, maybe couple weeks. See what that. So why TV viewership is so much higher in the Big Ten states than other states? Well, in fairness, here's the thing: the Big Ten of all the conferences has the largest alumni base. Okay, so you've got the largest alumni base. You have, Chicago, which is a huge, television market. You've got Penn State with Pittsburgh and Philadelphia. You've got Detroit with obviously the Michigan situation. You've got Washington, D.C. from Maryland. You've got Rutgers, gives you New York City. You're now going to have Los Angeles. You've got nationwide, you've got Big Ten alumni all over the place. And the alumni is really large for the Big Ten. So that's why, has such good viewership nationally. It is because they have a huge alumni base. In smaller states and small cities too. But I used to do Big Ten football, and we would see that there'd be fan bases, all over the country, and frankly, all over the world who would follow Big Ten football. So it's excuse me, it's been a tradition, and it's been they have the largest alumni base of any conference in the United States. So that's one of the reasons. The key is national in that. And it's the same thing kind of with Notre Dame, right? And here's the thing too. Let's take Ohio State, for instance, right? Ohio State has a huge fan base and a huge alumni base. Now, there's a lot of people that didn't go to Ohio State University, but they grew up in Ohio and they just began being fans of them. Okay, they may have even gone to another school, or they didn't go to school, so they just like Ohio State and their brand. It's like the same thing with Notre Dame. There's a lot of people who didn't go to Notre Dame, but they were Notre Dame fans as kids growing up, or maybe they became Notre Dame fans, later on. It's called, in New York, there's Notre Dame. There's a lot of Notre Dame fans that go to watch their games on, at bars in the city, and they used to call them the Subway alumni. It's the same thing in Boston. A lot of Catholics who are Notre Dame fans. So it boils down to the fan bases. Do you have a national brand? Some schools have a national brand. Notre Dame has a national brand. Ohio State has a national brand. In some regards, Michigan has that national brand. And so, that's how it works. It does definitely. OSU, Michigan, it was 17 million in Texas, and TCU was 2 million in Dallas, Fort Worth, and Austin. Yeah, that's a good point. Again, looking at Ohio State, Michigan, that's a rivalry that goes back, 80 years. Okay, it's been on television for 50 years. So, Ohio State, Michigan is definitely a rivalry. Texas and TCU, and even Texas and Oklahoma, which is a Red River rivalry. Okay, it's hard for them to beat Ohio State, Michigan. It just is. But rivalries are good for college sports. I think rivalry is what we all want, right? We want to see the team that you don't like. Largest games in both conferences last year. Yeah, absolutely. And of course, Texas is leaving. So I guess who becomes the big rivalry in the Big 12 when Texas and Oklahoma leave? I guess maybe it's Baylor and TCU. Maybe, I guess. If the the Pac-12, well, it wouldn't happen this year. I was going to say, if the Pac-12 did for some reason leave, they would end up in the Big 12. That would be Utah and BYU would be a pretty amazing. The Holy Wars, they like to call it, would be one. But yeah, that's a huge difference. But Florida, Georgia is big. Tennessee, Alabama, Auburn, definitely. In the Pitt and West Virginia, which is what they call the backyard rivalry, that's a good one. Ohio State, Michigan, we know. Purdue and Indiana have a decent rivalry. Oklahoma and Oklahoma State. Then there's Oregon State. There's Washington State. There's Cal and Oregon. There's plenty of good rivalry games that are out there with some fun histories to them. It's what everybody likes. Everybody likes to have a rivalry game, and it's an enjoyable situation to be sure. The NFL has just made Tennessee, Georgia was the SEC's largest game, last year, the 13 million. I think that was because at the time, both of them were ranked in the top. Well, Georgia was ranked number 1. Tennessee, I believe, is still ranked maybe in the top 10, I think, at that time. And of course, Georgia's defense was too much for Tennessee's wild and woolly offense. But and Tennessee and Georgia aren't even rivals. But that was just a game between two really good football teams. And so, 13 million. That's a pretty good number for Tennessee and Georgia. And that might have been close to, close to the, the title game, which was in the SEC. So, and I know the Florida Georgia last year number wasn't bad, there were some. The SEC usually drives, north of 10 million in 4 or 5 of their games. LSU, Alabama, as we said, Alabama and Auburn. There's maybe 5 games in the SEC every year that draws a huge national following, just because over the years we've come to know that those two teams dislike each other. So there's much to be said for that. I think that one of the keys to all of this is that college sports always has been based on having fun and having a situation where you dislike another team and another fan base. And that's, you spend all season building up to that time when you're going to play them, or you spend all season building up to that time where you can't wait to play them. And everybody has that circled on their calendar. They've made plans. I mean, everybody's decided, okay, we're going to head, to that game if it's the only game we go to the entire season. And, it's in Florida, it's Florida, Georgia. But for Florida State, it's Florida State from Miami. They do play Florida State in Florida every year, but it's really not as big a rivalry as Florida, Georgia, or Florida State, Miami. I'm sorry. It's a big weekend, by the way, for college softball. And I don't know if you like college softball, but it's on ESPN Plus and ESPN all weekend. It's the Sweet 16. There's only 16 more teams left, and then after the Super Regionals, they will head off to get ready for the Softball World Series. So that's coming up, and some really good softball going on this particular weekend, all throughout the entire country. So if you're a softball fan and college softball fan, ESPN Plus has them all, and they start today. So they'll be finished by Monday, and we'll have our setup for weekend. We got hockey. The Florida Panthers are sitting back waiting to play, and the Vegas Golden Knights or the Dallas Stars will be facing them. And as we said before, Denver is sitting waiting for the winner of the Boston-Miami series. Boston is down 3-2. If Miami can come win in game 6, then it's over. If not, they'll go to a game 7. So, and that's interesting because Miami had a 3-0 lead on that one. So, crazy stuff there. Weekend-wise, baseball-wise, as we said, the two teams played in the 2020 World Series. The Rays and the Dodgers have a 3-game series in St. Pete with the Trop. So that will be an interesting series. The Sunday game is the 11:30 game on Peacock. So check that one out. What else is going on? Let's see if we can find anything else in sports. We know that we said before that people will get ready for the big races on the weekend. We've got the Formula One race from Monte Carlo at 9 a.m. on ESPN. We've got noon on NBC is going to be the Indianapolis 500, which, by the way, is they're expecting the second largest crowd they've ever had there. The crowd they expect this year is going to be 325,000. So that's 325,000 people in Indianapolis. The record crowd was for the 100th running of the race, which was 350,000 people at the racetrack. So not a bad showing in Indianapolis. By the way, ironically, Indianapolis still, the Indianapolis 500, still is the only sporting event where their major event is a blackout locally. You cannot see the Indianapolis 500 in Indianapolis. They force you to either come to the track or listen to it on the radio. So kind of crazy stuff. So we'll see. But yeah, that's the weekend in sports. Pretty much a lot of fun stuff going on there. So look, everybody have a nice weekend. Katie, thanks so much for dropping by. Greatly appreciate you and Bill and Jeff and David and all the other folks who came through and asked questions. Hit the like button before you leave, please. That would be great. Subscribe, like us, and we'll see you again on the Monday or Tuesday. We'll see. And have a safe and wonderful holiday weekend, okay? It's been fun. And any last questions before we go here? Or you guys are all set? Okay, let's see if we got that one more question. All right. Have a good week. You too. Katie, thanks so much. And we will see you guys on Monday. All right? Okay. Take care, everyone.